We weren't live.
Oh no!
We're live now, and so sorry for that, everybody. We going for about 5 minutes or so, and I'm like excited to talk and forgot to click live. I'm glad I noticed that before we got like 30 minutes in because
I mean, it was only 5 minutes, but
that could have been a disaster. So yeah,
I guess it was an amazing 5 minutes.
It was. That's the show this week, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Yeah, that's kind of embarrassing. It's like, oh, okay, let's just. I was like, I had that moment where, like, do I say something or do I just pretend and then claim something?
Well, you gotta say it. You gotta own up to it.
Oh yeah, because then it's like, oh come on, there's no way you would have been like, I was there talking. It was fine. Like I could hear you. There's no technical issues. Yeah, that was my mistake because I was looking in the top corner to see like, oh, how long?
I know, yeah, because it's like you do come on here and it's like all of a sudden it's like, all right, where do I look? You know, and then you're looking over here and then you look over here. And it's like, all right, my position and my position and all this. So yeah, there's a lot of shit going on.
There is, and it kind of feels like a Brady Bunch thing. I'm like, who do I look at? Like, oh, Chris, are you still there?
Did we do that over? Oh, Chris looks like he's frozen.
He might be frozen. Oh, there you are. It kind of like froze on us a little bit. So I guess we'll kind of go over that again. I'll recap the question that my friend JT asked, which was, you were in community theater before you met Brian O'Halloran and anybody else, and he wanted to know like what was your favorite? And you were saying that it's really hard to pick a favorite.
It's hard to pick a favorite of anything. It's like I get the question asked so many times, and I will always give the same response. It's like I don't pick favorites of anything. And luckily, I only have one child, so I don't even have to pick a favorite of that. I do have 2 grandsons. But again, I am not picking a favorite.
Tie. Yeah.
But I will never be able to pick a favorite of anything because to me it's hard for me to just dwindle it down to just the one.
Mm-hmm.
When things are so different across the board and it's like trying to compare apples to oranges and all that kind of stuff. Hey, Chris.
Awesome. Yeah. Chris was cool. We've talked. We had Scott on here, Scott Schaffo, a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
And we were all talking. That was a good one. Scott's a great guy, and
totally.
He had a lot to talk about. We had a lot to talk about. That one was in the making for quite some time. We were scheduled, and it didn't work out, and then all this. And I'm glad today that this is working out, even though for those of you watching, like, why are you running late? Well, if you missed what I explained just now, I didn't hit record or go live. So that's why we're a few minutes behind here. But we're kind of picking it up and dusting off and going with it. The show must go on.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh.
So Marilyn, what did you like about playing the character of Veronica?
I mean, the dialogue, was pretty funny. And it's like the thing with Kevin is that there's a lot of memorable lines, like the one-liners and things like that. I mean, usually you're lucky to get a couple of really good ones in any type of a film, but he's got so many whenever he writes. And just the type of person that she is as well. I mean, because so many times people that I've met at conventions, it's like, it's like you were the type of girlfriend that I want and kind of role model what I want. So that's and I'm talking to Veronica, not necessarily me. So that's quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, I had a girlfriend similar to Veronica. I mean, she didn't look like Veronica, didn't kind of like necessarily act like Veronica, but the whole, you should be going to school, stop working in this convenience store. And literally that happened. And so it was awesome. She never brought me lasagna to work, but she did bring me like a sub sandwich once. So, I mean, that's close enough.
Absolutely.
I mean,
who doesn't want a girlfriend that brings them lasagna?
Right.
Absolutely.
And a whole lasagna.
Hey, Pete, how you doing?
Hello, yeah, hello, Pete.
It's nice to see some people that I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try to get it out there, let everybody know we're kind of growing pretty quick.
Just before it was like 5 minutes. Okay, buddy.
Yeah, we were talking before we went live about how popular the Facebook is getting for us, and it's just, I mean, it's not like way up there yet, but still, Facebook is so. It gets, you post something on Facebook and it goes viral, and it like grows so quick. So many people share and share and share.
Yeah.
And it's like the best platform, I think, to be on, especially when we went to video, because we were doing this just audio.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people really love the video. They want to see it.
To be honest, Instagram as well.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. I mean, I guess when we first started, it was just me, and then Chris came along, and then we started doing like a weekly thing. We would record. I would kind of cut it together and put it out, and then the video thing started. Scott Schaffo actually, was like, you should try StreamYard, which is what we're using now. And I noticed Brad O'Halloran uses StreamYard for his O'Halloran show, and I'm like, okay, that seems fun, and we started doing that, and it's been great. Like, there's no issues that I've noticed.
Oh, so you were just going straight onto Facebook?
Yeah, we go to stream. I go to the StreamYard site and then set up the broadcast, and it's streaming live right now on Facebook and on YouTube.
Prior to using StreamYard.
Yeah. Before StreamYard, we would I think use Zoom. And record the call, and then I would post it later.
Got it.
Which that was a little bit more annoying because it worked great, but it took so much more time to get the show together and put it out there and everything. With this, it's just boom, it's live, and as soon as it's over, it's still there.
Yeah,
there's really not much to worry about as far as getting it ready.
It's been an evolution for a while.
And to be honest, it's like I'm going to ask a question that I really don't know the answer to. It's like, does this also is it able to record onto Instagram, or is just Facebook and YouTube?
I think they have. There's the ability to have up to 3 or 4 streams at the same time. So I know they have at least one more platform. It might be Instagram, because I know Instagram and Facebook are kind of tied together. So I'm pretty sure Instagram is one of the others as well. I need to think about that, because like a third would be even better.
Yeah.
A lot of people use that Instagram. I'm on there, but I mean, I'm not much of a poster. I'm more of just like, I follow this person and that person.
A lurker? You're a lurker?
Yeah, I kind of like to peek a little bit.
I do that on TikTok.
Yeah, I've peeked around on some TikTok, and that's pretty fun. So how excited are you? I mean, we know that you're going to be in Clerks 3.
Yes.
And I'm not going to ask questions of like, what do you think Veronica's doing? Because I ask everybody. I asked Scott last time when he was on, like, if, in Clerks 3 or any other film, if you could choose your character, or if you could choose to be reprise your old character, would you, or what would you think? And his answer was just, he would like refer to Kevin's judgment, because like he's like, the writing is so good that he trusts whatever would come out. And I feel like a lot of people, and I guess if I were in playing a character in a movie, I would probably not want to speculate. I would have my ideas, but I wouldn't want to like build myself up to be like, oh, I hope that they're doing this, and then you get it and it's not what you expect. You build that expectation, and it's it's funny, because there have been times where I've really looked forward to either seeing a play, seeing a movie, and I had huge expectations, and when I had them that high, I was eventually just kind of a little disappointed, where it's like, if I have no expectations, or just in the neutral aspect of looking forward to it, then I'm more than happy with what I've seen. But when we did the Clerks 3 reading in Jersey, oh my gosh, I think
think it's 2 years ago already.
That's a long time.
Wow.
It's coming up on 2 years, so it's a year and a half. Holy cow! When we did the Clerks 3 reading, and I finally got to see the script, I definitely did not expect what we ended up reading, and but oh my gosh, it was so full of emo.
Yeah, I've heard a few things. I wasn't there, but I've heard a few little highlights, I guess. I mean, I don't know the script itself because it was pretty secretive and pretty which was, it was a good cause, what they did, with raising money for the First Avenue Playhouse. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Unfortunately, at this point, though, with the pandemic and stuff, I think our efforts might have been in vain.
Yeah, but still, I mean, it's like the old saying goes, the thought is what counts, and
Yeah, absolutely.
I wish that things could have went differently, but I mean,
it probably could have if it weren't for that pandemic. But,
yeah.
I
really want to I hope that maybe in the Clerks 3 DVD or something we get that reading as an extra.
Yeah. Now, okay, I know that Kevin has his own platform now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have no idea whether that's the platform where they might actually release the video, because there were, it was 2 days and both days were videotaped, or filmed, or whatever you want to call it. And it would be nice to actually see it.
Yeah,
because it was really a great time to just all be together, and get to read this, live in front of people who definitely appreciated it, because they are the diehard fans. So yeah, no, it was fun, and getting to see some of the people that I hadn't seen in a while. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I really wish I could have gotten to Jersey to be part of that, but I'm there's just no way. And I'm just dying to read that one day. Hopefully he puts it out in some form, but I mean, I'm as excited to see the new Clerks 3 and what that brings, because I know it's very different from what I've been told.
Yeah, I am as well. So I hopefully we can get there this year, and if not this year, then hopefully next year. But who knows? Who knows?
I think he said he wanted to try for this year. Because there for a while we weren't sure. As fans watching on it, you would hear a lot of talk of Mallrats this year, and then you heard a lot of talk of Clerks 3 this year. So it's I don't know. But either way, I'm happy for either film. I'm really more excited for Clerks 3, I think, but I'm happy to see anything he's putting out. I've never seen. I mean, I know there's going to be many people that disagree with me here, but I've never seen a bad Kevin Smith movie. That's me. But there's going to be a ton of people that are like, "Have you ever seen Jersey Girl?" But I have, and I've enjoyed it.
Bagged on Jersey Girl, and I really enjoyed it. I mean,
I did too.
And again, and I don't think this part was actually live, but the part about subjective art,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I personally have enjoyed all of Kevin's films as well.
Yeah, and I just got the Arrow Video release of the Mallrats Blu-ray, and it's the new special collector's edition or whatever.
Okay.
Little blueprints, Jam Bob's blueprints in there, and I love watching anything new that he puts out, because there's a couple of features on there with Kevin talking about Mallrats and how he got there, and then a little bit of Clerks and stuff. And I go on to his service sometimes. It's like that Kevin Smith Club. I go on there sometimes and month to month and kind of watch a little bit. There's tons of content. So anybody that likes Kevin Smith and his movies, you can go on there. It's it's relatively cheap too. It's not that expensive.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is too, though, now, because we're going into our 27th year.
Yeah.
Wow.
27.
And so now some of his other films will start coming up to the 25th year. So he's going to have like that domino effect, almost like either every year or every other year of one coming up.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm trying to think. It's like I think Chasing Amy already is past the 25th.
I don't remember. I think that was, I want to say 97 or 98 when it came out.
Or maybe that is coming up on the 25th.
I think it is coming up. I'm not sure though. It's hard to keep track, and like especially when he's had so many.
Because now I'm trying to remember which one he did after Clerks, and
I know Mallrats was his second, and I think that was in 95.
Right. Yes. And that one is past the 25th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of why they did the re-release on the Mallrats Blu-ray. Actually have the little cardboard sleeve right here, the brand new artwork on the cover. I think they released this kind of for the 25th anniversary.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, but Chasing Amy's coming up too then, because it was only a year or two after that.
Yeah, I think so.
And then, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back hit 20 years this year, so, or I think it was 20 years. It was 2000, I believe, or 2001. So yeah, 20 years. That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that guy has done movies for 20, almost 30 years. Like, wow. But no, I mean, I've enjoyed every one of them, and I'm super excited to see again like Clerks 3 and see what Veronica is up to. I was really hoping they could put her in Clerks 2, but
yeah, well,
you can't have everybody all the time, I guess.
It's I'm excited and very grateful that I will be in Clerks 3, and I can only hope that maybe it'll kind of spill over into some of the other ones.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. I mean, maybe you can see Veronica walking through the mall or something in Mallrats too.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? I mean, and kind of talking about Clerks, I know you've heard this probably every day since that movie kind of hit, like the 37, and has that stuck with you that much, like to now? I know a lot of people on social media is like, "How you 37?"
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, as far as like conventions and things like that, I'm sure like that's a big thing still.
Oh, absolutely. For Brian, it'll always be, I'm not even supposed to be here today. And for me, it'll always be how many, or 37, or, just some aspect of that. Even just walking on the street, and somebody will be, if they recognize me as they're driving by, it's like they'll yell out 37 or something like that.
Well, yeah, and that whole scene is really not just the whole 37 part, but the whole argument of like you said you only had sex with 3 different people. That's all you said. Like that is such a real conversation and a real argument.
Was it really?
And I mean, some people I've heard, it's maybe not that specific like conversation, but stuff very similar. Like, oh, you kissed that guy. Like, oh yeah, but that doesn't count. Like, or whatever.
Well, yeah.
And that's what it was about that movie for me too. Like a lot of that stuff was so real, and so like, okay, I've lived through a lot of that movie.
Right. My wife and I totally had that conversation. So, yeah.
see, yeah. I mean, I've never known someone to give a specific number like that, but I mean, hey.
Yeah, I think my wife gave me the names. So, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it wasn't 37 names. And
no, that would have been a very long conversation. But no.
Well, yeah. Veronica didn't give the 37 names either. She gave the other names when they were just the low numbers.
Yeah. Oh, just the 2 other names, and then but you didn't mention that guy.
I do think it's easy. Sometimes there's a danger in being too on it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And it's like Dante says later in the movie, and he realizes that if he didn't see it, if he can't see them, they weren't there. That kind of the ostrich syndrome.
Right.
And that's true. You really got to remember that. Like people's pasts
Yeah,
or their past.
exactly. Although better if you don't know them at all versus knowing who they were.
Because then if you accidentally like come across that person and you're like, wait a minute, you're one of those guys. It's like, I don't like you. And that's kind of dumb. I mean, like, you can't really be mad over something that has nothing to do with you.
Exactly.
Or that,
Exactly.
So what kind of films and things do you like to watch, like in your own time? Is there any particular type? I know we said it's hard to pick favorites of anything, but
yeah.
I know you've been involved in a lot of film projects and stuff.
I have
different things.
I've purposely kind of tried to work in as many different genres as I could, so that I can show range and show that it's not just one type of film or character that I can play. Thankfully, they were on the, independent film range, but it's not easy. So, but thankfully I've been able to do that. Now I do enjoy working on like the fantasy sci-fi end of acting. So I feel like that genre kind of meshes very well with all the other genres, because just within the sci-fi fantasy, you've got horror, you've got drama, you've got comedy, and yeah, can go on and on and on. So
Admittedly, I haven't gotten to see a lot of those independent films that you have been a part of. I need to go and try to track some of those down.
Yeah, some of them are on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Amazon, some of them you might have to rent, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the thing for me, trying to track them down, like just movies, like independent films in general. It's like,
yeah,
it's so hard.
The short films, they're hard to have a platform to be able to be shown other than just putting them on YouTube. But I think more short films are kind of making their way onto Amazon or Netflix as well now.
Yeah, I've noticed that on Netflix and stuff. A lot of independent stuff that you're like, wait a minute, like just pop up on Netflix.
Well,
well,
people have been stuck in their homes, just getting whatever content that they can find to watch, and so all those platforms, they're just hungry for content now, which is great for us, the watcher, sometimes.
It's funny too, because there's so much content right now that I've been last couple of weeks just binging old stuff. And it's like, it's funny how that works sometimes. You're like, I want to watch this, and then you sit down and you're like, I'm just going to go watch Clerks, or lately I've been binge watching True Blood on HBO Max, which I love. I don't know what it is about True Blood, but it's a good show. Like, it really sucks you in. And Chris and I talk about like superheroes and like comic stuff. So we're, really into the CW shows and things like that. And so I binge watch all these old episodes of these shows, and it's just like, I need to start watching the new stuff.
I used to be like that when, before all these channels were put on the table for us. Whenever I just would flip through channels and I like the show, let me watch it. But now I don't try to watch or rewatch shows that I've seen before, because there's just so much content out there that I want to see, that I want to really catch up on. So and if there's anything that has more than like the full season on there, I will binge it until I'm done. And sometimes it's like I go through it very quickly.
I feel so spoiled by Netflix being able to watch the entirety of something all at once. It almost kills me when I have to wait an entire week for the next episode to come. So we'll get you.
Thankfully, Amazon kind of does that a little bit as well, with some shows, but mostly they'll try to, I think they go episode by episode.
I think I've noticed a lot of platforms starting to do episodes by the week because it's like it's a good idea business wise because it's if you can binge an entire series in a week and you have nothing else to watch, why would you keep subscribing?
Yeah.
So you got to keep them hooked in.
Yeah.
And plus, like Chris said, it's easier to watch. Well, not easier, but it's better when it kind of stretches out and you're not done in like 2 days and then you're sitting there for a year waiting for the next one.
Yeah. I know for me though, it's like, oh, what was last week's episode again? What did they do? So
that's true. It is hard to remember sometimes, especially if you're watching a lot in between.
Yes.
It's kind of like there's so much going on. So I love when my services like Netflix and things have those recaps in the beginning, like previously on this. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Very rarely do I watch those recaps.
You're skipping through it.
I do that with intros. I'll skip through some of them, but I mean, if it's a show I hadn't seen in a while, if I'm rewatching something old, or if like we talk about like the CW stuff a lot, the Flash and things like that, and if they're on an extended break, which they have been this time around, it's the pandemic and everything, and they started filming I think in September when normally that's when their fall season would start. Right. So we're finally going to get it in March again, and it's like I'm not going to remember what happened in the last episode, so I'm going to have to rewatch that again probably.
Yeah.
But, I mean, a year is a long time to wait for a new episode.
It is, and sometimes, I mean, depending upon the show, it could be the death of the show as well.
Right.
When you have to wait a year or more for the second season.
Yeah.
How has the pandemic affected you as far as your work and everything?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
How has the pandemic affected you and your work and everything?
Well, I work in a salon.
Okay.
And so it's like, unfortunately, I don't make a living as an actress, so I have to have that day job or day jobs. So I work in a salon, but I've also freelanced hair and makeup. And so the freelancing is pretty much out the window. Even though the person that I've worked with doing freelance with weddings, she has started back up, but I just don't feel comfortable that the precautions will be taken. And so I'm not going to put myself in that situation because I am immunocompromised and I do have asthma, so I don't want to take those chances. As far as salon, we've been closed 3 separate times now. And so tomorrow night, I will be going back to the salon where we were given the okay to open up this week, this past weekend. So, I'm excited and then not so much, it's like, because you kind of get used to just being at home and doing nothing. And it's like, which is bad.
Yeah.
It's like in so many ways, it's like you get burned out. So you hope for like a break. Not this long, but it's like sometimes be careful what you wish for, because you'll what do you do when you get it and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it'll be nice to see my clients again. Hopefully, a good portion of my clients come back, but I don't know.
Well, I know exactly what you mean. There were a number of times over the years where I said, man, I would love the chance to work from home. And then the pandemic happened and I had to work from home. And there's only the novelty of it all wore off really fast.
I personally know for myself, I'm not disciplined enough to be able to be focused and to be able to work from home. Like if I had that type of a job to be able to work from home. I mean, yes, I can cut hair from home, but technically it's not allowed as far as state board is concerned and stuff like that. But you know what I mean? So I like, because sometimes people would say to me, like, oh, why don't you write? And I'm like, I would not be able to be disciplined enough to kind of sit down, be focused, hyper focused, and to just sit and write, because I would have distractions. Oh, I gotta go do the laundry. I gotta go do whatever, So, yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, I know that you're involved in directing and producing.
I have. I directed my first short. We got a little delayed as far as getting that put together because we just didn't have the money. But very soon we're going to start editing the short film that I directed, which was written by the lead actress. She kind of wrote it for herself. So I'm looking forward to putting that together. And, I've helped produce here and there. And I haven't fully worn the producer hat. It's a tough job, to be honest. And I'm not quite sure that I care for that hat. But I mean, I do enjoy being able to know all aspects of the film industry, though. There's still, but as much as there's just so much more to learn.
Well, and sometimes you don't know if it fits you until you step into that role and do it for yourself.
Exactly.
But as far as the directing side, did you find that you enjoy that process?
You know what? I have to kind of put that hat back on, to be honest, because it was like getting ready for the first shot. There was so much prep that needed to be done just before getting that first shot, and so when we finally got into position to say action, I totally forgot because I get so super focused on making sure that all little details are done, because when you're independent filmmaking, you wear more than one hat.
Absolutely.
And I'm usually so focused on being there for everybody else, and I was like, oh wait, it's on me now.
So you have to be a good multitasker.
Absolutely.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, because I like my internet, it went out, and I'm like, oh no. I'm so glad that it's still going, and now I'm all blurry for some reason, but it'll be fine.
I got nervous there for a second when you blipped out. I'm like, I guess he's
I don't know. The internet just kind of like had a weird glitch, and I'm just like, everything was off. I'm just freaking out, like, no. I'm glad it kept going because I was like, I hope all of that isn't lost.
No, we kept on going. So
awesome.
Yeah.
That live little button there was still there.
Yes. Awesome. I'm glad. That's a big relief. I'm just like, oh my God. But I'm glad everything's good. Hopefully no more issues.
Hopefully. But technology.
Yeah, Murphy's
technologies. Yeah, now the little fussy camera is bugging me, but I don't really know. But it's not too bad. It's just I don't know if it's blurry on the other end, but I know mine it's kind of like but I can work with that. Sorry I missed all of that.
You were having a good conversation, so you'll have to.
That's great.
Watch
I'll
it
have
on
to
replay.
find out later.
Yeah.
To watch it later and find out.
So I know that you're known for your acting and in both movies and TV. But I will say that I've got a daughter who's really into makeup and that kind of thing. Was that like the natural progression for you to do makeup for movies, or I know you freelance?
Well, so I actually worked in a salon at the time before Clerks.
Okay.
So back there, I really didn't do it in the industry. It was once I moved here to California, and there was one. I was working in a salon. Well, actually, when I first moved to California, I was doing whatever job I could find, but I did work in a salon too. It's like here and there. But I went to this one makeup supply place and there was someone that was behind the counter working at the store, and she looked so familiar to me. And then eventually I could see that same look on her face where she was looking at me and trying to figure out who I was, and I'm trying to figure out who she was. And when it was my turn to get up to the register, we kind of mentioned that to each other. And so we were just going back and forth. And it turns out that we had actually done murder mystery theater together back in Jersey.
Oh, cool.
And she was a makeup artist. She is a makeup artist here. And so with her, it's like she was mostly makeup. I was mostly hair. I did do some makeup. She did some hair. So we kind of, just combined forces, and she kind of gave me the ins and outs of the industry here. So then it was just kind of a natural progression from there.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And I there might have been another question to or answer, I think, to your question, Chris, but you were going in and out.
Okay. I think it was just for people that might have an interest in getting into the industry and maybe doing hair or makeup. Are there any pointers that you would give about people that might have that interest?
Well, obviously, training is one. And it's not necessarily training at a school, but because there's a lot of self-taught people out there, and that's all good. And then they'll go on to and see what other training they can find either on YouTube or something like that. But getting in with someone, just knowing someone, is always a great way to kind of get in and into the hair and makeup as far as the industry is concerned, as far as like film industry anyway. But when it comes to working in a salon, you do have to be licensed, either as an esthetician or cosmetologist. And then, you can just branch out from there, where if you want to be specialized in any area. But it's finding out those people to kind of mentor with.
That sounds cool. Oh gosh. So have you done, I don't know if I've ever asked you this or if anybody's asked you this, but have you done any writing?
Have I done any what?
Like writing of your own?
Very, 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 very little.
Okay.
So like the short film that I directed, I was with a group of other people. It's like, and we all basically had our own little shorts that we all created. But unfortunately, out of 8 or 9 short films, we were only able to raise enough funds to shoot 3 of those. One was supposed to be a short film of an idea that I had thought about, I don't even know how many years ago. And at that point, I only had like a small little synopsis idea. Once I got in with the group, it's like, then I kind of expanded a little bit. But it's more of a visual piece than it is a talkative piece.
Okay.
The total opposite of Kevin.
Yeah. He's all talk. Oh man.
But just a few days before we were set to film, I lost my lead actor, so we kind of had to do a quick little switch, and I was already set to direct one of the other shorts anyway, so we did that one instead.
Okay.
But that's the extent of my writing. Many people that have actually read the little short that I made, they say, oh, that's really interesting. It's like, why don't you, make it into a feature? And I'm like, that's all I got. I just don't have any more.
Yeah, I've been trying to write a little bit myself. I've never really written anything, as far as like I've been in classes and stuff where we had to write like short little scripts and this and that. But I've never actually tried to write like a feature or anything like that. And I've been working on one now for probably going on 2 years, and I still nowhere near. I set a goal for myself earlier I guess later in 2020 of today to be finished. And I'm like, yeah, it didn't happen. I didn't think I would be quite this far away from being done, but I don't know. I just kind of want to. I think a big influence is Kevin's movies, how he sprinkles his life in a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to write something about that, something that I can put myself into, but then at the same time make it different enough to where it's not just like, oh, that's just an hour and a half of me.
Well, but they do say write what you know.
Yeah. That's true. And I've kept that in mind. Like, I know I don't have this huge like $1 million budget or multi-million-dollar budget. I know I could do like fundraising, but I would like to be able to try to make a movie for like see how little you can spend to make something like that's actually pretty good. Because with Clerks, it was less than $30,000, and it looks great for what it is.
Yeah, but technology has come a long way since then as well.
Oh yeah,
right.
So I mean, there have been a multitude of films made by uber famous people on their iPhone.
Yeah.
So it can be done cheaply, especially if you have all the sets and the locations and the actors.
I try to, like, in my mind, I haven't even gotten close to that stage yet, but I'm thinking like, what places could I film in that don't require permits?
Right.
What like every little thing that you can get away with.
Right.
A couple of like cool little shots, cool little spaces. Especially it'd be easier with phones. If you're using a phone to record with, nobody really goes, "Oh, what's this person doing on the phone?" Oh, that's no big deal.
Right. Well, sometimes because of it being on the phone, or even if it's a handheld DSLR, depending upon the location, you don't need to have a permit.
That's true. Yeah.
Because if it's a public place, and it depends on city and state as well, I believe, you might not need a permit if it's in a public place.
Right. Which is, yeah. And a lot of mine, actually, what I've written so far takes place in a convenience store. But, and I used to work at one where they would actually, I made a short film for a class, and it was really just me directing and myself, which it was just me in it. No other actors. It was just me because I couldn't get anybody else to do it for me. So I was like, okay, I have to like direct myself. But unfortunately, I had it all in my head, so I knew what I was doing. I mean, it was horrible. It was really just a series of like little unfortunate things, like, oh, you're at work, you trip and you fall over. Oh no. And then little things like that keep happening. And then the guy finds like a winning lottery ticket and his life's changed and he runs out the door. But that, yeah, I edited it together in black and white, and just because I was a little bit of a Clerks thing there, but it was fun to do. And at the time, I was like, okay, cool, they're letting me film this. I just wish I had a film ready to go that I could have filmed there.
Right. Right.
But I don't want an entire film in a convenience store because everybody's going to be like, you just tried to copy the Clerks. Which, I mean, I'm not trying to copy it, but it's a huge part of what my life was for a very long time. So that's why I love that movie so much.
Right. So you worked in a convenience store as well then?
Yeah, for a long time. I mean, a lot of different ones, and for a long time. It's something like whenever I first saw Clerks as like a kid, I was like, oh, this is boring. It's old because it's black and white. And it really wasn't that old at the time. But then once I became like an actual clerk, I started understanding the movie so much more. And it was a completely different movie.
I think we had both talked before about how we've both been clerks in stores, and totally understanding what Dante goes through about having that job that you have to work but not really liking it very much, right?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the appeal of the movie in many ways, right? That
everybody's had that job.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody's had that one job that they hate, and they're like, I'm gonna quit. And then, well, that was me. Dante was always afraid to try to quit, but like for me, I'm always threatening myself, like I'm gonna quit. You watch, I'm gonna quit. And then if you like lose the job or whatever happens, you're like, wait, why? You're so disappointed now. Like you hated the job so much, just leave. You know, and it's like it's like they say in the film, there's plenty of other jobs out there. You're bound to be qualified for at least one of them. Like there's always
be easier. Not so much anymore, you know. Well,
not anymore. Yeah. Especially right now. I mean, there's not a lot out there that you can just up and just go to, but
yeah, it's slightly different circumstances at the moment, but
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think that hopefully things will get better. I mean, I know they will eventually. Hopefully, it's sooner rather than later. Absolutely. I guess that's what I should have said. We're like hitting the year mark, so it's like, okay, can we please like try to fix this thing now?
Well, I think it's still going to be another few months. I feel. Hopefully I'm wrong, but
I actually I was fortunate because I did test positive for COVID, but I never had any issues.
Oh.
It was very mild. I think in the first couple of days I had some chills or whatever, and that was it. So I'm very fortunate. I've been home. I finally went out yesterday, 2 days ago. It was the first time I left my house since like the Thursday before, so it was like 8 or 9 days before I went anywhere. Well, no, it was actually 10 days because they say the 10 days you stay at home, or if you have very mild symptoms, if you're worse, it's longer. But I'm just waiting on my.
It's like you wouldn't want to be going out anywhere.
No, I didn't really want to anyway. I've actually enjoyed being at home and not having to go. It's like you said earlier. It's like, okay, you're comfortable with it, and that's the bad thing because now it's like, okay, I don't want to like go into working again, but it's like you gotta have to at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But I've just gotten so comfortable just sitting and watching all my favorite things and not having any responsibilities. And then, it's one of those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You gotta do it. Oh, yeah. Gosh, what else? Films and movies.
Chris, are you the one that's on the West Coast?
On the what?
Are you on the West Coast or the East Coast?
I am. Yeah, I'm in Highland, California.
Where?
I'm in Highland.
Highland. Where's Highland?
Yeah, it's by San Bernardino.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm about I'm about 50 miles from LA.
Okay.
Movie Guru, film reviews, and more. Hi, Marilyn. Hi, guys. Well, hello.
Hi,
how are you? That's what I love about the StreamYard platform. People can comment, and you can just pop it up on the screen.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah, and I'm on the East Coast. Well, not really coast, but in North Carolina. I'm on the western part of the state, but it's been kind of crazy here. Not as bad as California, though.
I hear there's a nor'easter coming up the coast.
Yeah, we had an interesting few days of weather because around here, it doesn't matter what day it is. You could have summer yesterday, spring tomorrow, and then winter by Friday. And it's like, what? Because literally it was like almost 70 degrees here last week. And then yesterday we had like an inch of snow.
Well,
and then all melted.
The weather out here has kind of been following the same suit.
Right. Yeah, we got snow and torrential downpours, and then today I'm in shorts and a t-shirt, so it's crazy.
I mean, what can you do? And that's what I like about living in kind of like the southeastern part of the United States is we do definitely have seasons. Sometimes the seasons don't know what time of year it is, and they kind of show up whenever. But we do have cold for 3 or 4 months, and then we have really hot for 3 or 4 months, and then we have the spring and everything. And also a lot of people love it around here because it's the mountain areas. We have these views. You can go out and see the mountains and all this. And it's for me, it's one of those things where it's I'm used to it, so I don't see and really understand why it's so special. But I guess it's whenever I go and travel a little bit and I see those views, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember now. You don't think about it as much when you're just kind of in it. And so you step away for a minute and you kind of look at it like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had 80, 90-degree weather.
Right.
Ooh.
And then the following week is down to 60s, 40s, and 60s. Last week, we were supposed to have more rain days than we did, but we still had, I think, 2.5 days.
Yeah.
But it was
yeah, you got to love California that it's going to make up for all of its drought, all at once.
Absolutely.
Oh,
the movie guru guys, they're getting a foot or more in Massachusetts of snow, I guess.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Foot. Jeez.
Yeah, I was having a virtual chat with my brother and my sister. My sister's in Jersey, and she did mention that they're expecting anywhere from a foot to 18 inches of snow. I'm like, I am glad I am not there.
Right.
Yeah, we normally, where I'm at, we don't normally get that much snow at once. We normally, like, on a good snowstorm, we might get like 4 or 5 inches, and then in a couple of days it's gone. But like we've had a few crazy blizzards. I know in like '93 when I was probably 6 years old, we had the year Clerks came out actually. Well, no, it didn't come out in '93. It came out in '94. But it was, I think we had 10 to 12 inches, and that was here, which is really uncommon for us. I remember being a kid, it being up to my waist and falling down. We had to walk to a friend's house because our power went out, and I remember insisting on wearing cowboy boots. Why? I wanted to walk in snow and ice in cowboy boots. No, but I did.
My last year in Jersey before I moved to California, it was blizzards, state of emergency type of blizzards. So yeah, it's like, my send off to California.
Right. Definitely makes you appreciate it. My wife's family is 100 miles south of Buffalo, and so we've been back there in December during their bad blizzards, and man, it makes me so appreciate the warm weather in Southern California. When it just simply makes the mountains nearby white, I'm happy to appreciate it. And if I really want to go up to Big Bear and spend the day there, I can do that, but I don't have to live in it.
Right. Yeah, I don't think I could ever move back to a cold state.
I'm like, I want to move away, but I would be gone for like a year and then want to come back. I can't stand the wintertime at all, but I'm lucky. Anytime I feel like complaining about snow or cold, I'm just like, at least I'm not in like New York or Jersey or like Pennsylvania or anywhere in the northern part of the country because it's so much worse there.
Yeah.
It's here. So I'm kind of like in between. I mean, it would be nice to be maybe sometimes. I mentioned this once a while back. Like me and Chris were talking about like temperature and differences. And I was like, oh, maybe Southern California would be nice for some time. And then it's like, wait till you get the summer heats, like what did you say, 112 or whatever?
Right.
And it's like, okay, maybe I would get tired of that. I would not like the extreme heat. But
I mean, at least we don't get the humidity. But still, there are days where you hide under the AC unit.
You know what I gotta say? I actually, because it's funny, when I first moved to California, and people who grew up in California who would be like, "Oh my gosh, it's so humid today," and I just kind of look at them like, "What the? No idea, honey. Yeah, no idea." But I would have to say, the last few years, I kind of feel the California humidity now. Depending upon where I'm at, and like in the summer mostly, but especially in San Diego. The last couple of San Diego Comic Cons, I would feel it down there.
Yeah, I've never had to actually got to go to San Diego. I know I've talked about it before, but my dad used to be a truck driver, so I've been over with him to parts of Southern California and the Midwest and Texas and things like that. And just feeling the differences in humidity and heat. And like New Mexico is really dry and hot, like all the time.
Yeah.
That's a lot of good memories, but I don't know. I say I would love to live in like California or somewhere really hot. Then I really think I would miss the differences in seasons. If I could maybe have like a summer home to like live there during winter home, I guess, and leave this area for the winter and come back when it's like August or June or whatever. But
I was never a winter person, so I didn't mind it at all.
I don't like the heat. I don't like extreme heat or cold.
My mother-in-law has, I think, the right idea about it. She's sort of a snowbird, right? So she's with us during the winter months when it's temperate, and then when it gets hot, she goes back to New York and Pennsylvania, and spends time there. So she kind of avoids the extremes. So
that's the way to do it.
It'd be nice. That actually would be nice to kind of have, dual living arrangements.
Yeah. They always kind of pass her around from house to house. So, Marilyn, what's next for you? What do you have planned, or on the books, or what do you want to do?
Well, for the past few months, believe it or not, it's like I've actually been doing some self-tape auditions. So I don't know, maybe something will happen there. Who knows? But honestly, it's like there really isn't a whole heck of a lot going on. It all hinges upon the pandemic. Although some filming has opened up, so that's a good thing, for TV and film. There's still independent work to be had out there, but most of them are non-union, and I am in the union, so that won't happen. But knock on wood, things will happen, and things will open up.
I realize. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I kind of, my mind is a terrible thing these days. Anybody else having that problem? It's like getting stuck in the house, and it's like the brain doesn't want to function anymore. But anyway, I do have something that I've been doing once a month now, with a company called Zenescope. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Zenescope, but they're a graphic comic book company. And so myself and Brian gets together with a few of the people on there once a month, and we review a movie from the 90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's cool.
So we have done 4 now. Our last one we did last month, or this month, a couple of weeks ago, was Underworld, although that one's not the 90s, but maybe we're doing the 80s. I can't even remember. But we'll be doing that again in about 3 weeks. Just look on my social media pages and you'll see it there.
That's cool. Awesome. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it has been. It really has been.
And I know I saw on the Facebook post a few days ago the Wizard World thing coming up.
Yes.
And that looks awesome. I just remembered that myself. I'm like, oh yeah.
Thank you. I actually, it's funny because just before getting on, it's like I was just finishing up editing a little promo for them and sending it off. So on February 20th, we are going to be doing Wizard World virtual experiences, and so there's going to be a free Q&A, free chat panel Q&A, and then on the 27th of February, They up until the 26th, they're going to be selling virtual photo ops, video chats, and autograph signings. So there's that you can sign up for. And I still got the website. It is wizardworld.com/clerks-February-20-27.
Wow.
Nice.
That's the exact address.
I'm excited for that one. I'm going to try to maybe hop in on that because I mean it's got I know you and Brian and Jeff Anderson and I believe was Scott was on that one as well. I think.
Yes.
And that's awesome.
So unfortunately for Jeff, it's just going to be the autograph signings. So
okay.
He's on the panel.
That's still kind of cool.
It's still, it's like he's easing himself into these things, just
he's starting to pop up on these things, and it's
he started doing conventions just before the pandemic. I think he had only gotten into 2, so he was just getting his feet wet, and it's like, damn, no more.
Hopefully, this doesn't scare him away from continuing to do them later.
Right.
I mean.
Do you find that you enjoy being a part of the conventions?
Say that again?
Do you enjoy being a part of the conventions?
I do. I love getting to meet the people. So, I myself am missing the conventions in as much the same way as the fans are. Because, I mean, I enjoy getting to meet the people, talking to them, seeing the costumes, meeting the other guests that I'm, fans of. So yeah, it's always a lot of fun getting to cities that I've never been to before and seeing what's there if there's time. So yeah.
That's awesome. I've always wanted to go and visit some of those conventions, but I've unfortunately either not had the funds or they're too far away. Like I would love to go to San Diego for at least one Comic-Con one day. Maybe one day.
Yeah.
If that ever happens again.
It makes it a little bit difficult for you because I always tell people who live here, it's like, hey, if you can't get a ticket for inside, still go because there's a lot that happens outside. So it's still an experience, even if you don't get to go inside.
Oh, yeah. And so, and I'm kind of glad in a way that we're getting to get these like virtual conventions. I mean, I know it's not the same, but at least, I get a little bit of something. I always love going on YouTube and watching the convention panels like later on, like, ooh, yay, it's here.
Right.
And then by then it's old news, but to me it's like, ooh, it's exciting. But one day, hopefully I can get out to one of the big ones.
Right.
So, I mean, anything else coming up or anything else?
I think I actually did give you.
Because I don't want to keep you forever. I know, I don't know how much time you have. I know we're just at an hour now, which is what we usually go to. Sometimes we go longer, but I don't want to, keep you too long or anything like that.
Yeah. I think that was pretty much. I'm pretty sure there's nothing else that I'm forgetting.
Okay. Oh,
well, thank you for a chance to come on and get a chance to know you a little bit better and meet you in person.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's really nice.
It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you. And have a great night, guys. And thank you so much.
You do the same.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Well, that was a lot of fun. Talking to her. I feel kind of bad because when we first started, I wasn't live. And I had flashbacks to the one episode we did last year sometime, and I didn't record the entire thing.
Now, see, I still have a grudge because that had been up to that point, I think one of our better episodes, and that we had completely lost it. I was really bummed.
Yeah, me too.
That said, I feel like tonight was one of those moments where we had some glitches and we just kind of had to roll with it. Thankfully, she just kept on going too. So
that's good.
that made it well. So
I was freaking out. I'm like, oh gosh, it's I don't know what happened, but it just went out. And then I was so glad that it just kept going, because I was thinking like either this whole thing was lost or I have to start a new one, and it cut off. But I'm super glad that it just kept going for everybody else.
Right.
And unfortunately, the clip didn't, like, I played the clip earlier and it didn't go through, and I didn't think to play it again because I didn't want to like cut her off and like, oh, shut up for a second, let me play this. Like,
right.
I don't do that. But it was fun.
We made it. I think that there are, all interviews are different, right? I think that's absolutely the truth, that all interviews are different, and I think we pulled it off. So.
Oh yeah, and I do want to go ahead and throw this out there again to follow Mark Guggenheim. He is a very good friend of the show, and he also sponsors the show. And he's come on, where's the comment? Go! I'm trying to get the graphic up, or the little comment up on the screen here for everybody. There we go. M Guggenheim is his Twitter. Don't know why I didn't think to do this when we talked to him a couple of days ago, but there it is for everybody. He's a really cool dude, and it's always cool to talk to him at any point. And we spoke to him twice now, I think. And the second time a little bit more brief, but hopefully we get to get him on again soon.
Yeah, I love the fact that he is active in the industry right now. I mean, I think that he's so current. That's what I really appreciate about him. I did notice tonight we had more comments during the show than I don't think we've ever had. So that's a positive. Even one of my friends, Darcel Salinas, had popped up and said hello. So that was really cool.
And I noticed my mom has been watching. I don't know if she's still there, but this is from this comment from earlier. I just didn't. That's the thing. And hi, Mom. Thank you for watching. I don't know like the best way to put comments in, especially when we have a guest and the two of us. It's like, because I feel like when you throw the comment on and like saying, oh hi, it's distracting. You go, what is that? And then you start to read it and everything. And I don't like interrupting people, so I try to find the best times to like insert those.
To me that makes sense.
Yeah. And there's so many comments here I'm looking through now, scrolling back. Because Movie Guru Film Reviews, they commented a little bit ago saying like, I can't wait until the conventions come back around because I can't wait to meet you and Brian and get you guys to sign my Clerks Laserdisc. That would have been a good one to have when Marilyn was still here. Sorry. Yeah. But hopefully you can see that later. And I'm excited to rewatch this now because there's part of it that's going to be new to me. So because I missed that like 5 minutes there, I'm like, bonus.
Yeah, Marilyn and I were talking behind your back. So
look how stupid he is, and like how terrible his equipment is. Isn't that funny? Like, I want to hit him in the face 37 times. No, I mean, yeah, it's just a little glitch that happens from time to time with me. Like my stuff will just turn off, and I'm just like, what? Right. I paid the bill, I think. I mean, but yeah, it's fun. And then next week we have a fun episode, and it's probably going to be a little bit later because I'm eventually going to go back to work. I'm supposed to be cleared to go back now, but I'm waiting for that call and letter from the health department to say like, hey, medically you're good, you're not contagious anymore, which should have been, I think, Wednesday or Thursday should have been the day that I was, they say after 10 days of the onset of symptoms, you're no longer likely to be contagious. On a mild case. If it's a more severe case, it's up to 20 days, I think. But yeah, I'm good. I just got to get the official thing to say here, I'm back. Unfortunately, I think my paid leave is done, but I mean, a couple more days off wouldn't hurt me. Hopefully I can go back soon, which is weird to say because I don't really want to go back to work because like Marilyn said, you kind of get home and you're not doing anything and you get comfortable with that and you don't want to do anything, and that's not good. And it's not good. And
I know that during the week when I'm prepping for my job, I mean I'm up at 6, so that I can be at work by 7:30, and gotta drive there, gotta go into the office, I've got to get dressed up. But when I worked virtually from home for months, it was business on top, and it was shorts or sweatpants on the bottom, right? Because who cares what you're dressed like,
right.
off camera? And I'll just confess that I was going to be comfortable, right? Being able to, being able to work virtually from home and have the TV on and watch, that was pretty sweet too. So,
yeah,
I missed that part.
I almost took a work from home job. It wasn't telemarketing; it was a customer service for, I think, internet companies or internet providers. It paid slightly less than the job I ended up taking, so there was that. But it would have been me literally doing this. Like, did you try to reset the router? Try to reset the router. Did you try to reset the router? Good. Thank you for calling. Like,
have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again? Yeah. Right. That would have probably driven you crazy.
It probably would have, but I would have been just sitting here.
I will say though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say that there's something about just the simple act of getting up and going in, right?
Yeah,
I think that it does a lot for my mental health, getting out of the house and interacting with people face to face. My staff certainly keeps me on my toes.
Yeah, I can agree with that because, if you're doing work from home and you're not particularly fond of the work you're doing, then you're going to associate home with work, and right. For me, I would not have enjoyed that job that I could have done from home. And not that I enjoy my job now, but at least I can go home and go, I'm home, and not have that association.
My work life bleeds over into my home life enough as it is, right? I get emails and phone calls from my boss and from my teaching staff and from my office staff in the middle of the night and early in the morning, and that's just the reality of my position. But even then, I mean, the challenges of sometimes my kids want my attention when I'm at home, and if I'm trying to deal with that while being on a Zoom call for business, it's hard. So it's almost funny sometimes when I will have I'll be on a video call with a staff member who has kids, and they're trying really hard to be professional, and then their 3-year-old kid is clearly having a fit, and they have to somehow try to mute themselves, calm their child, and still communicate with me, and failing miserably. So.
Yeah, that's unfortunate when that happens. I mean, I'm lucky. I've never had to be in that situation, but I know people who have, and I would not want to be in that.
Yeah, but it's just the reality of things right now.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you again for tonight. I had fun, and I'm looking forward to next Sunday.
Yes.
Just a little bit of a change up.
It is
a musical guest, so that should be.
Kind of feel like we're like the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, or well, maybe not Jay Leno, but it feels more like a talk show. We have a music guest this week, or like
right,
where we're like a less funnier SNL.
Right, I really do feel like it's good though that we're sort of branching out, and Podding Up Between a Pod and a Hard Place is really become a platform that we can talk about anyone and anything that we like. And I think that's great. We're not stuck in this little box, right? That we're able to expand and grow and adapt and change. So I think that's great.
And I'm just happy that so many things are coming up to be able to talk about and to talk to people with, because, as you mentioned, next week is Lee Newton comes on, and she's a local musician here in Western North Carolina, and she's great. She's got a lot of talent, and we're gonna play one of her songs next week called "Go On," and I've got it here, but I'm not gonna play it now because I don't want to kind of spoil it. I kind of want to play it when she's here, but I should have made like a clip version and played a clip of it, but I didn't think about that ahead of time to kind of promote it at the end of this show. But she's coming on next week. And I actually talked to one of my old when I was in school taking college courses. I had graphic design classes and some other media classes. I mentioned to him like, "Hey, why don't you come on sometime and be on the podcast?" Because it's kind of related. I learned a lot about. I might not be using all the knowledge I learned in those classes, but I learned a lot about podcasting, about how marketing and promotion, little things. Like I didn't focus on podcasting, but there was little bits sprinkled in of all sorts of media in those courses. And he actually sent me a message today because he told me about this local radio station, this nonprofit radio station here and in the city here. It's I forget the name of it, but it's I think they just called it Asheville FM. So the name of the town is FM. It's a local radio station. It's a nonprofit, and they have like podcasts and stuff that they record at their studio, I think. And he says, you should get in touch with them to get this show to go through them. And because they have a website, they also have an actual a radio station that they do put content on. I think the podcasts are separate from the actual station programming. Because the station programming is a lot of local music and stuff like that. But I sent them a message, so I'm waiting to hear back to see what happens with that. So that maybe we end up getting this show on it's basically like a public access radio station sort of thing. But it would be on their website probably with the podcasting. But still, that's exciting that might be a thing.
Great.
So yeah, I really do think 2021 is going to be a good one for this show.
Yeah.
I've kind of almost forgotten that we had audio.
I think that Marilyn made a good recommendation about.
Oh, we had.
I think so too.
Yeah, we're slowing down. Making sure my internet's still good. It's kind of funny. When we started the show, I dropped off, and now everybody else is gone. Oh, he's still there with us. Hopefully you're still there. If not, then it's cool. We go ahead and cut it short here. Looks like we lost Chris there. But we're going to go ahead and wrap things up, I guess, maybe as a sign. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in this week. It's been a pleasure. It's been fun. Is he back yet? No. But it's been so much fun. Thank you for joining us this week. And be sure to tune in next week a little bit later. It'll be about this time now next week. It's going to be 11:30 p.m. Eastern and then 7:30 Pacific next week. We have Lee Newton on, and she's not gonna play a song live. She might, but we have a song that we're gonna play, and it's gonna be awesome. So tune in for that. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Pod and Hard Place. We'll get you the that little link here. Not link, but and boom. There's Mark Guggenheim again at Pod and Hard Place on Twitter. Join us for that. And you guys have a good week. We will see you next time, and be good.